Hello, and welcome to our Teen Stress Less Kit demo with the Public Library of Brookline. My name is Robin, and I'm a teen librarian at the Brookline Village Library. I'm here today to show you all how to make felt succulents. Is this your first Public Library of Brookline to Go program? Here's how it works. Each month, the library is offering new take-home program kits, complete with everything you need to follow along and video or written instructions created by one of your local librarians. The best part? Absolutely no due dates. You can keep everything included in your kit. Visit brklib.com to go for a full list of our current kit offerings and follow the link there, or visit brklib.com/eventbrite to reserve yours for free pickup at any library location. Now let's get going. For this month's kit, you should have a wooden ornament. You'll need a pair of scissors and a pen. You may also need markers. And then you'll need your paper patterns that give you the patterns to cut out for the succulents. And then you'll have an assortment of colors of felt. You should also have some sort of glue. You can either use the glue dots we've included or use your own glue. So first you want to decide which kind of succulent you want to make. You can use any of the patterns that we've got here. We've got different sizes and they are labeled in order with letters. And then these ones are a little bit easier to make in that you roll up, and then the others are ones that you stack on top of each other like petals. So first you want to cut out all of the patterns that you want to use, and you can choose to cut out any particular version of it. You can see there are different colors that will show you which ones are the different types. So first we'll start with this pointy tipped succulent, and you just want to cut them all out right along the edges of the pattern. And for each of these you'll want to make the different sizes, and you may need to make multiples of the different sizes patterns. So you'll, for example, may need to make 3 of A and 2 of B and 2 of C. So once you've got your pattern cut out, then you just want to figure out which color you want to use that pattern for out of the color options that you have. So in this case I chose this nice bright green. And then you want to use your pen or a marker, any marker that you have that's permanent. It doesn't matter if it'll show a little bit, you'll be able to trim that off. And then you just want to trace around the paper pattern. For this particular pattern you need 3 of size C, which is the biggest petal. And then you need 2 of B. And then you need 3 of size A. You can always squeeze in the different shapes where they fit on the felt. The advantage of this pointier petal is it's easy to kind of maneuver it in between the different points so that you can have a little more room. So once you're done with drawing all the different petals, then you just need to cut them out. Now for all of these you can cut along the edges, and you can cut just inside the line so that you cut it and you don't see the marker where you made the outline. And you can also, if you've used a color that you like, for example a dark green, you can leave it on there and it'll add kind of an edge to that particular plant. With this particular shape you want to be a little bit careful so that you leave that point in there, because that's a very specific look of a succulent, so it's nice to make sure that the points come through as you're cutting them out. I usually cut out all the different sizes at once and stack them so that I can keep track of how many of each size I have. Now in your kit you'll have either some fusion tape or some glue dots, and you can use whichever you feel most comfortable with. In this case I'm going to be using the fusion tape because I can cut it into little strips, and that's helpful for this particular shape. So for this first petal, this is the smallest size, put the strip of glue along an edge so that you can fold it in half, as you can see. So the bottom will be the flat edge that you've made, and the top will be the pointed leaves that stick up. So essentially you have 2 leaves for each of these petals. They're just folded in half. So for the center, you want to make sure to roll it like this so that you've got a real center of the succulent. It'll look a little bit like a very small rosebud. And then when you do each of the subsequent petals, you just want to make sure that you put the glue so that when you fold it over, it will stick to itself. So it's, in this case, a little bit of a diagonal across the center like this. And then once you peel it off, you'll be able to get the petal to stick to itself. And then you're going to wrap each of the petals around to make the succulent. And you just keep doing this. Keep folding them in half and then adding the extra petals on, and use as much of the fusion tape as you need to get this to work. And as I said, you can also use the glue dots, or you can use just regular glue. Regular glue will take longer to dry, so just make sure that you clamp it together so that it'll dry successfully. But the fusion tape, you can see, works very well. So you just keep doing this, starting with the smallest sizes and moving out towards the biggest sizes. And you can choose how many petals to use, and you decide when you think it looks complete. And once it's done, you've got a nice little succulent that you can add to your ornament. And this next one is a dark purple one, so I decided to use the 4-petal rounded petal shape. And in this case, you want to trace it as well onto the felt. Now, when you have a darker color like purple, it can be hard to see when you're tracing the outside like this. So if you've got it, you might want to look for some chalk or a white pen of some sort, a light pen. You can also use a metallic pen. I actually had a gold one left over from another kit, so I decided to use that one so that I could see the lines better. And you can see that just makes it a little bit easier to see what you're doing on the dark felt. And this one works the same way in that you have descending sizes and shapes. So for this one, it's kind of however many you think you need. So I did 3 of the larger size, 3 of the medium size, and then 3 of the smallest. And then once you cut them all out, and again, you can leave a little bit of the edge if you want it to show on the edge of the petals, or you can just cut right inside the line so that it doesn't show. And then once they're all cut out, in this case you can use, again, the fusion tape or the glue dots, and you just stick them together in the center. And you want these to look a little bit so that they're bunched up a little bit. It shouldn't be completely flat. You want it to look like a real petal. And so the middle one you'll want to kind of squish together to make it look a little bit more grouped together. But then as you add them on, you can make them a little bit flatter as you go, or you can continue bunching them to make it a little bit more irregular, like a real plant. And then for the other ones we have here, there's a version of the succulent pattern that instead creates a base with a straight line at the bottom, and then all the petals are just sticking up on the top. And this makes it a little easier if you want to try this first. This is an easier way to put them together, and it makes the petals a little more regular. And in this case, you can see that each of the sizes is already there, and then it just descends in size along the line. So this one you just want to make sure you trace it pretty carefully so that you get all the individual lines where you would cut, and then make sure the edges are all the same. And this is just like the rest. You can always cut around the edges. As you can see with this pointier version, I just used a different pen so that I could get a little bit of an edge onto the petal. One other option is if you want to use the fusion tape to do a couple of different ones of these, if you actually trace the pattern so that they are opposite each other but parallel, then you can actually put the fusion tape on to the lines right already onto the felt, so that when you cut it out the tape is already there, and that means you'll just already have the adhesive all the way along the bottom edge, which is helpful if you just want to do a couple of quick succulents this way. And then you can see if you do it with the one fusion tape all along the edge, then you can peel it all off at once and roll it up as you go. And you get a nice little fat succulent at the bottom, and it's also got a very stable bottom, so it makes it a little easier to stick it. And if you don't do that, then you can just go ahead and use the fusion tape or the glue dots and put them regularly along the bottom to make sure you've got a solid base. And then with this one, this has got the nice little pointier leaves, so that makes it a little bit more spiky, and it allows you to make a little bit more of a realistic lytic plant. And then you can just adjust. Once you've got it all stuck together, you can kind of pull the little leaves apart. So this light purple one, you can see that each of these, you only do one of each of the descending sizes, and there's a good number of them, and they get smaller and smaller. So this is for those of you who have scissor skills and also would like to make something that looks a little bit more like a traditional flower. And with this one, it works much like the purple one, where you just cut out all the pieces and then you layer them on top of each other using a glue dot at the center. And this is another one where you want to squish it a little bit to give it a little bit more structure as you're adding the petals. And then once you're done, you can just gather together all the succulents you've made, decide which ones you really like and which ones you want to keep for your ornament. And then you just want to glue, and you can use the fusion tape or regular glue, and then just stick it onto your felt ornament in the right configuration for the way that you think looks best. And then once you've got the color combination and the leaf combination that you like, then you're all set. And you can hang this anywhere, and you don't have to take care of it. It's all made of felt, and it'll make a nice present for someone as well if you'd like to give them some long-lasting succulent plants. Thank you all so much for relaxing with us today. The Tween and Teen Kits program is generously sponsored by the library trustees and the Friends of the Brookline Public Library. We would love to see what you made with your kit, so please feel free to share your project with us on social media using the hashtag Brk LibToGo.